So with the pre-order of the latest Dark Empire Luke Skywalker artisan figure, it started making me think about the amount of figures that Hot Toys has put out for the artisan line, and I'm curious if they're already doomed for failure. So that's something that I want to talk about in this video. Hey everyone, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles, your 1/6 scale tribal chief. I am back with another video, and today I want to actually talk about the artisan series figures from Hot Toys, and more or less just have, like I said, just a very informal conversation. Um, it's an interesting thing. So when this artisan series came out, first and foremost, let's just cut the bullshit. The artisan series was really, in my opinion, birthed probably because of other companies like InArt stepping up, right? And so, Hot Toys is kind of answering back with this new revamping the DX line, turning it into this artisan series figure. And, one thing, and obviously the first figure they do is the Joker. So that being said, it's like, all right, cool. So I'm sure this artisan series was something in the works. And I always say Hot Toys just doesn't, turn on the light switch one day and say, hey, we're going to make this figure. These things are in the works, and they've already got stuff in the pipeline for next year. We're working on, they have to be a year or multiple years in advance of making products. So there's no doubt that the artisan line was probably, in its production phases much earlier on, the idea, the thought of it to upgrade these figures. And obviously, InArt is just kind of giving them a nudge to, step their game up. But there's definitely been some inconsistencies that I've noticed and concerns that I do have. Now, at the time of making this video, I'm going to be very upfront. I do own or have on pre-order every artisan figure thus far, whether it's most of them are through the queue system or getting them secondary, just because I wasn't able to. But regardless, I have every artisan on pre-order as of right now. And one of the criticisms I had of InArt is, InArt is putting out a lot of pre-orders for figures, but they're not getting a lot of figures in hands of collectors, right? And the one thing, and I'm all right with InArt if they only do, like, if they only release one or two figures a year and that's their MO, I'm actually all right with it because they're kind of saying, hey, listen, quality over quantity, and this is what we're doing. But you know, I don't want them to get turned into Hot Toys where you have all these pre-orders. Eventually you're going to get bottlenecked because you just keep announcing, but you're not releasing. You got to kind of have a balance. And so I can't lie, I'm kind of starting to see a thing with this whole artisan series because as of right now, we're looking at it on Sideshow. I filtered it the best I could because I want to show both options and kind of talk way through this. But we have one, two, three, four, five artisan figures that have been announced, and we don't have a single one in hand. And I have this sorted, and obviously, and I have it like if you see here, I have it filtered with a lot of categories because if you type in artisan, there's a reason why I did it this way because I want to see both options because there is some alternate options to figures. So, um, so high to low, like the Joker. And I know people talked about the NR Joker, $1,000 for two figures. Well, Hot Toys came out and gave us a $550 figure. And, I get it. It's a revamped version of the Joker again. And one of theirs is very old. And I know one of the things when the NR Joker came out, people were comparing this to the current DX that's out. And people felt like it wasn't a fair comparison because, this one is, Hot Toys version has been out for a while. So, okay, they've revamped this one and they upgrade, stuff on there, the base and things like that. And they give you, the rooted hair, so all that stuff. But you can't disguise, you can't get away from the fact it's $520 for one figure. And people justifiably were like, well, I can pay 1,000 for two in-art figures. But then again, it's the purple coat. Like it's a back and forth pissing match. Like there's no perfect way because people can say, well, this is the purple coat. And, people sold off the 2-pack because they just wanted the purple coat. I get it. Back and forth, back and forth. It's a, like I said, pissing match. But then, what's cool about this also is that they gave you the sculpted version, $370. And so, for those who don't want the, that version, you can turn around and do, this cheaper option. So like I said, you have $520 and then you have this one for, 370. It's a difference of $150. And realistically, the only difference I believe there was the hair. That was the biggest thing was the hair on it. So and that's supposed to be like their step up, but you pretty much get everything else that you're seeing. except what's making it artisan is, like I said, that advancement in the hair. $150 in. Now, this is before tax and shipping if you got it from Sideshow. If you're doing tax and shipping, that 520, you're going to add another $30, $40 on top of that. You're talking north of like a $600 figure. I, you're 100% valid to question if this is even worth that amount of money. Then they move over to the Anakin Skywalker, another one, $415. What's interesting about this one, and this will be interesting to see on the aftermarket when this thing announces, because they never made a sculpted version of this. It's the light side version, but yet nevertheless, it's artisan, $415. And one of the criticisms of this, and I was heavily critical of this, is that as it stands at the time of making this video, you have no pleather soft good, no leather. So this is pretty much the original figure, probably upgraded naturally because obviously fabrics and stuff. But they're not calling out like big, hey, leather robes, leather boots. They're not calling any of that nonsense out. So you're assuming it is what it is. And then they're giving you two lightsabers, but yet only his blue one is USB. Dooku's isn't even USB. Okay. And a very basic base. Like, this is nothing. This base is literally nothing. And so, once again, like, for me, I can understand people wanting this figure because the justification behind this at 415 is if you wanted this figure right now, he's probably trading for this amount of money on the aftermarket. So realistically, it makes sense just to pay this to get the artisan. Even if you paid a higher price, like $100 more, you're probably going to pay roughly around this on the aftermarket for the original light side version. So you might as well score the artisan. So that this one's like, okay, I get it, but there's still realistically not enough here to realistically garner this price, except for, like I said, the rooted hair. And then, if you miss that on the original light side, you get another second go at it. So let's move on to the Scarlet Witch, which I think for a lot of people was a surprise that did artisan, but a great candidate in my opinion, just because of the hair. I have the WB 100, so I kind of understand it's going to look really great with that kind of design. Artisan edition, $445. Regular edition, $325. Once again, the exact same figure. You're paying that premium just for the hair. And once again, Hot Toys is not calling out like, hey, this is going to be a nylon or a leather like jacket. They're not giving you any details on that. So you're assuming it's going to be some kind of pleather-ish material. The fact is it's not called out. So for that kind of money, the collector is really unaware of what they're getting. So they're assuming they're going to get something basic like pleather or something like that. Different type of base here. I mean, with the light up effects here, which is really cool. I believe, correct me in the comments below, this is a unique base. I'm sure it's repurposed from something else, but in terms of this exact version you see here, I'm almost positive this is unique to this character. But another cool looking one, but once again, you can argue the price tag. Now, I don't have a Scarlet Witch in my collection. This would be the first one. So once again, I'm not here trying to justify, but I am trying to give you a little bit of my mindset in terms of why I got each character. So far, I don't have any of these versions that you see in terms of the Joker, the Anakin, or the Scarlet Witch. I don't own a version of those characters at all. So once again, that was the reason why I pre-ordered them. But once again, no differences here except the premium is the hair. Now, moving on to what I think is the best artisan that they have done because of what they're giving you, the character and the value. And I think it's going to be one of the hardest ones for them to top in the future. Is the next one is the Jack Sparrow. Now, I do have the DX06. I did a review on this. I said it was the best Hot Toy in my collection, and I currently still stand behind that. Hot Toy, not Blitzway, not in art, Hot Toy. I was absolutely love that figure. I still do. And I was ecstatic that they did this in artisan. And so I grabbed this because having this figure, you have so many different posing options with it, with the jacket off, on, it just with the rooted hair, with the cloth bandana. There was just so much there. The wheel. This is the first artisan that I do feel like for the value of $495 over $500, I do see you're getting a lot for your money. Now, there is obviously some drawbacks. The sword is not die cast like the original, but I think for the overall package, I do think that this is the one artisan that I could argue, you are getting your values worth out of the figure for that price tag. And so $495, it's interesting because, like I said, if you're a fan of all these characters, you look at $495, $520, 415. I mean, it's like I said, it's like it's kind of seeing where your money's being distributed. Are you getting equal value out of these? It's a completely subjective thing to think about. Um, and I think that with this artisan series, I am a little bit concerned, and it kind of started with my thought. Those thoughts started coming along when the Dark Empire Luke Skywalker came out, because $430 for this figure, and then it drops down to $280 for the sculpted. And so, like I said, through $430, 430 minus 280 pre-tax, it's $150 difference for the hair. Now, this is where advancements start to happen, where in this version of the character, I want to call it out and show you. They actually are calling out his outfit, because a lot of people were concerned about this type of design. And I look at it's hard to see the base. The base is pretty much looks like the artisan Anakin Skywalker base. And so once again, it's kind of like a reused base, but they're actually this is actually nylon, highly detailed nylon suit. So this is better than pleather. This will last longer. So it's a step in the right direction. It just sucks that you're getting it on this figure, and this is a specific Luke Skywalker. It's not like it's Return of the Jedi. It's not like it's Bespin or New Hope Luke, where it's going to appeal to so many people. It's not going to appeal to everybody. It's a dark side Luke, an Empire, a Dark Empire Luke. But nylon here, but as it stands, no line, a nylon on Anakin, no nylon or anything like that on Scarlet Witch. And so it just kind of like sucks with the inconsistencies that you've already got these figures out, which let's just do some math real fast, shall we? And this is all pre-tax, but you got 520 plus 495 plus 445 plus 430 plus 415. If you got all these figures, it's 2300 and five, 2305, $2,305 tied up in five figures. And I know I'm selling like, well, then why'd you pre-order them all? Listen, at the end of the day, you could say, why'd you pre-order any Hot Toys, right? The argument I'm having with this, you could say about literally anything. And so you say this about InArt, you said about any other batch of Hot Toy figures. This is just what it is. It's just that my concerns with the Artisan series is that originally when the WB 100 Wonder Woman came out, that was still such a great figure. I love that figure. And then when we got the dual announcement basically of the Joker and Anakin, I thought that they would honestly be doing the Artisans very rare, like maybe once every 6 months, or once or twice a year, and they'd be packed to the gills with stuff. And then we just started seeing the drops. Now, five may not seem like a lot, but it really is, especially when every one of them except Anakin offers an alternate SKU counterpart. So I just it started getting me question, because we don't even have these in hand to understand the quality. And as the market progresses, right? Like that Joker, for example, how many of those are going to end up on the market because people are completely content with their in art, and when they pre-order this, they might have a change of heart and decide to cancel it. So I'm very intrigued about what the secondary market's going to look like. Or are people going to end up canceling the Joker Artisan and just go with the sculpted? Or are they going to get it and flip it and sell it, which there's a percentage of people out there that are going to do that. But like you said, you can move down the list, right? And you can just kind of see. But Hot Toys is going to obviously put out more of these. It's going to be Q. It's going to drive up hype, demand, obviously, supposedly limited the way they are. But I'm really interested to see what happens when we get these in hand. And I really do think they need to hit a home run with the Joker to, you know, have more faith in the line. And like I said, they're all selling out. Obviously, the reason why they're selling out is because of the exclusivity factor, right? They say there's 3,000, 4,000. That, just saying that alone, it's going to make the shit sell. So for anyone in the comments to say, well, they're all sold out, so they're going to sell because people are going to flip them, make money. But the fact that they're quote unquote limited, that's the reason why they're selling so much, right? It's just what it is. But I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are, and if anyone out there has kind of the same thoughts about, or concerns I do, that, I'm more anxious to get one of these in hand, obviously the Joker and Anakin, to see if the quality lives up to it. Like I said, the WB 100 was a different, it's not artisan. It's like a kit bash. They flipped that figure in like 3 to 4 months. But the hair does look fantastic. The hair on it, as it stands right now, is the exact same way in my video review. So, I mean, great. So I expect the Artisan to be just another step up in terms of its quality. But as I said, with every announcement they make of another Artisan, I just I think they're kind of setting themselves up where they really have to hit a home run with the Joker and the Anakin, uh, and uh, and to make sure that people are content behind those figures, paying these prices, especially aftermarket prices. I mean, Anakin traded for over 500-600 on the aftermarket. People buying that. Same thing with the Joker, and so it's just going to be interesting to see when these finally come out. I believe, just to wrap up the video, the Joker is slated for July to December, and I believe Anakin is the same way. He is July to December. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with these figures when people finally get them in hand, and if they live up to the expectations, especially how this is going to compare. Because people are going to compare this with the in-art version. So as I said, do you think that Hot Toys is kind of setting themselves up for failure with the Artisan series, the way they're going, announcing figures and not we don't have any yet? Or are you guys just kind of happy with the way things are? Drop a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Drop a like on the video. Please consider subscribing. Like I said, I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts. But until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.